TMI, OBE, and ETs. Deb and I went to the Monroe Institute in Virginia for their week-long introductory class called Gateway Voyage. We could have attended the same program at a more convenient location, but TMI's campus sits on a quartz ridge and the energy is very helpful. Well, the first thing we noticed is that meditating with 20 other people, even in separate rooms, is more effective than sitting alone. Also, sensory isolation and the hemisync audio support they provide through headphones are very powerful. My exercises were startlingly successful. Astral projection turned out to be as easy as going for a walk. During one exercise, I had just gotten comfortable into a light trance when I had an impulse to get up and go somewhere. So I swung my legs over the side of the bed, stood up, and started for the door, only to remember that I was supposed to be doing an exercise. So I walked back to bed, only to discover my body lying there, which I re-entered after a moment of disorientation. On my first OBE attempt, I went to a galactic mothership. I was met by a star brother who took me down a hallway, up a lift, down another hallway, through a wall that opened as we approached it, and into a room with 10 or 15 of our galactic family who were waiting for me. My elation with my success then turned to embarrassment at having taken them away from whatever they were doing for no good reason. I apologized and thanked them for honoring me in this way, then beat a retreat. A week later, Martin told me to go back and ask them how I can help, which I did. They asked me to bring awareness of them to the human collective on Earth, to look for their ships in the sky, and to imagine their ships in the sky. Apparently, this helps them in some way. For my next projection, I visited my 4-year-old grandson at his school. He was sitting at a table coloring or writing something. I put my hands on his shoulders and kissed him on the head. When I decided to return, I launched too vigorously off the floor and jerked back into my body. On the same day, I thought I would try a double exit, something I had read that Robert Monroe had achieved. I left my body easily and lay down beside a huge quartz crystal outside the training center. Then I exited whatever subtle body I was in and flew to Martin's house, where I hugged him and thanked him for all his help. I was about to fly to Katie's house when I found myself taking off some clothes. Well, I interpreted this as a third exit, and I went with it, taking off all my clothes, and I jetted off to Katie's, where I thanked her as well. I was about to head off to thank another of my spiritual mentors when I saw that I was holding a license plate that ballooned out in the astral wind like a bubble from a bubble blower and blew me to her house, where I thanked her. Then I flew back to Martin's, put on my clothes, flew back to Virginia, and re-entered whatever body I had left beside the crystal and returned to my physical body, still lying in the isolation unit. The next week, I told Martin about this triple exit. I was kind of excited about it, but he seemed unimpressed. One thing I learned during my projections at TMI is that wherever we are and whatever we're doing, we are surrounded by our spiritual guides and mentors. We are never alone.